Hi, my name's Peter Xing. I'm part of the Singularity U faculty and the co-founder of Transhumanism Australia. I work at KPMG in the Technology and Markets and Growth team, focusing on AI and automation, and I work alongside with the KPMG Insight Centre, looking at immersive technologies and VR and AR. So today I'm going to be talking about this topic on unself-isolating in the virtual world. So with COVID, all these things are essentially disappeared. All these physical activities, these contact points, whether it's low risk, medium risk, or high risk, there's really going to be a significant number of people that are second guessing themselves whenever they go out to do those things, whether it's sport or taking a vacation and going grocery shopping and seeing a doctor, to staying in a hotel, which is medium risk, and going bowling, going to the casino and taking airplanes and playing basketball, and high risk, going to nightclubs, indoor parties, indoor bars, churches, buffets, amusement parks, really any gathering that involves physical contact. So we've seen throughout the year that all these events have essentially been cancelled or gone digital. The Mobile World Congress essentially been cancelled, South by Southwest in March, GDC and NVIDIA GTC, Google and I/O gone digital, and people really have to reimagine what it means to have these events. And people are saying, well, is VR the solution to this impact? We've seen Facebook Connect have an element of virtual reality, which we'll talk to a bit further down. And people are reimagining what it means to have these digital events, having these pre-recordings like we're doing for the VR AR Association, and going all digital. But we're really seeing more and more of this adoption in virtual reality, such as what HTC Vive did with their Vive Ecosystem Conference. Had that happen earlier this year. And we've also seen things like Burning Man going in virtual reality using AltSpace, among others. So it is an exciting time to explore this, and I'm actually hoping for VR AR Association to make their events in virtual reality going forward as well. So there's also been an explosion of headsets. So I think VR has really hit the point on that plateau of productivity after it's gone through that hype cycle. And the Quest 2 being at $299 US with the Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 chip, it's just mind blowing that they can offer that at that entry point of $299 US. And 64 gigabytes, yeah, great for sampling. And we're actually working with them and looking to explore how we could embed the price of these headsets into a technology conference. And that'd be great to also have something to take away with you with a technology conference ticket, because you're using your enterprise training budget to actually have something that you could use going forward in virtual reality. And of course, the Quest 2 can have that pass-through mode and use it for things like AR as well, mixed reality. Well, this is a landscape. So we're seeing this open XR being adopted by the likes of Vive and eventually Oculus as well. Windows 10 will come on board shortly. The tethered virtual reality headsets, the high ends being Valve Index and the HP Reverb G2 that's coming out, to the enterprise use cases like XTAL. I can see that this is the 180-degree headset they used for jet pilot training and the others. And then you have the tethered solutions that are more consumer driven, like the HTC Cosmos and the Rift S. But I think they're becoming more and more superseded by these untethered sort of solutions like the Quest 2, which is actually bringing in almost 2K per eye to that fidelity level with the XR2 chip. And of course, the AR segment with the HoloLens 2, what Magic Leap will come out with, their second version of the Magic Leap. And I know the companies had some troubles, but they are focusing on delivering on that second product to deliver on the sort of original vision that they had. We've seen from Facebook Connect as well, the Project Aria, essentially collaborating with Luxottica, the Ray-Bans brand, to make some of these glasses, AR glasses, something that can be consumer friendly and for the people to actually feel comfortable using. And there's obviously Apple coming out with their AR glasses. It's been many years in development, but hopefully we'll see something over the next couple of years. And the virtual reality headset will come out as well. But I think their glass will really be the defining point of where these VR and AI headsets will go. And even Geo, from Alliance is coming up with their glasses as well. Not to mention the Primax 5K headsets. There's just been explosion and activity in this field. So on the software side of things, you've got companies like HTC Vive XR Suite coming out. They're essentially white labeling the solutions that have been successful in the market, like Engage VR, the Bella, which is the sort of a digital campus that you can access on your PC quite easily, which is also working towards some VR elements, including their Frame virtual reality solution. And there's Vive Social. We're using VR Chat, which has been very popular, having at one point 20,000 concurrent users, which is unheard of in the virtual reality sphere. And there's the Vive Museum. So this is just the leveraging the Museum of Other Realities, and this all together forms part of the Vive XR Suite with this sort of single sign-on, single avatar that you can use with Vive Sync. So yeah, this is like the Office 365 of virtual reality, and that'll be coming out in October next month. I've also seen Engage VR work with companies like XPRIZE. So this is the XPRIZE Connect event, which is looking at the future of learning lab, the power of gaming, and that was only a couple of weeks ago. And that was a real success. So I'm just going to show you a video of the intro that they actually managed to have in the Engage platform. I really love the setup. So the Space Invaders theme you can see at the very top. And the suspense is building as the countdown towards the start of the event starts on. And this is just one instance of it. You see engagement with 30 to 50 people per instance. And so they're looking to have other instances of this. So they're all actually inside this gaming arcade machine. Flying in. That ship actually lands behind the audience. Price. Go check it out. It's a really great initiative. It's going to show you as the
more of now than
who are not afraid to think and insist that they become the best that they can possibly be.
Welcome, and thank you for coming to the XPRIZE Connect Future of Learning Lab.
So there's also platforms like Spatial that we're working with as well, and this is where essentially turning holograms into reality. There's Aaron Dents over there. He's been a fantastic community builder for Spatial, and he's essentially showcasing what you can do. Since they've been focusing on the Quest recently, and it's out actually in the Quest store, you can get up to 30 people joining in the virtual reality, and also an additional 20 that can join in via their desktops to share screens and share videos and share files. And so this is a great way to collaborate, just like Microsoft Teams, and be able to actually have that real physical presence and be able to look at 3D objects in virtual reality as well. And it really helps with that creation process and the design elements. And this is Facebook's vision of the infinite office. I'm sure you've all seen so far. This is where essentially using a Quest 2, you can use the pass-through mode to be able to see your surroundings. Currently it's still black and white. I'm sure they'll be able to have the processing power to add the color, as you can see here. But essentially creating the browsers, infinite number of browsers all through your 360 degrees of vision, panoramic, and you'll also be able to keep an eye out on your kids throughout the day. So if you're seeing that you're being distracted, you can just walk off back to your bedroom and continue on with your work. It's a great way to sort of multitask at the same time, have everything still locked in place, your office set up in the way that you wanted it every time. You can even integrate it with a keyboard so that you can type a bit faster and more efficiently than just using your hands. So yeah, that's Facebook's vision of the infinite office. There are also social platforms like Facebook's Horizon that's still in beta, not out yet, but we've seen some early views of it, and it looks very similar to Rec Room. But obviously Facebook will put more money into it and enable creators to build those worlds out in a more flexible fashion. So yeah, we're going to see once that launches, is actually create almost like that Ready Player One type reality. And they'll also include it more high fidelity visuals with the Quest 2 with that XR2 Snapdragon chip. And Altspace, we mentioned before, that hosted the Burning Man platform. I think there's some amazing things that was done for Burning Man. I think Altspace being bought by Microsoft should also have the funding to get to the point where it can actually increase the fidelity of that environment as well. And fourthly, Sansa. So that was previously owned by the team behind Second Life, but it's since pivoted to more like music festivals and sort of these corporate events that can scale up to 100 plus type number of attendees. And so that's definitely one to look out for in the enterprise solutions. And people are actually creating these digital assets, and this is where the value will come from in this digital economy and virtual reality. This is an example from a website called Super Rare, where digital artists can actually put their digital art on the marketplace. And this is an example from Marco Matic. He's actually selling these, Ethereum-based tokens, so that you can actually, this digital artwork can be purchased by Ethereum. And basically, I think he's made like more than $5,000 just in one of these artworks alone. And because it's tokenized, you'll be able to own these artworks, in perpetuity until you sell it. And so, that's sort of the blockchain coming in with VR. And you can actually, create these in Unity, Unreal, and even Crytek's getting involved with CryEngine, and use marketplaces like Sketchfab, CG Trader, TurboSquid, and also have it 3D printed using something like MakerBot's Thingiverse. And this is where we're heading, I guess, in virtual reality. People can live and continue on to do business inside it as well. This is sort of the ultimate vision of where we should be heading.
Well, what can your face do? Can you show us?
Well, I've always hoped you would ask me that question.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some pretty good, I think, mouth movement.
So how about your eyes? Can you look left, right, up, down? Mm-hmm.
That's such high.
Good.
Yeah, I can do surprise. Ooh. I think one of my favorites is puffing my cheeks.
The mouthwash commercial.
Mm-hmm. And rolling my tongue.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, not a lot of people can do that.
Platforms like VR chat essentially come to life, because if you can have that level of fidelity on a social platform, I think, it'll definitely be one that people won't be able to get away from. And also AR, I mean, we're still in the early days. The Magic Leap had a lot of promise. There's a lot of memes out there about the design, because this is not something that you would want to wear really in the social setting. People would find it and give you double takes and second looks. So the memes out there are actually saying that it's like a spider with those multiple eyes coming out, But ultimately, a company like Apple or Facebook partnering up with Ray-Bans will be able to come out with that vision of what AR glasses should look like. You actually want to wear. Concept design of it. It's not exactly going to look like this. This is an example of the icons. But you can see that elegance will essentially come out through the design, and we know Apple, they will be late to the game, but they'll be the one that takes up most of the market share and make a most consumer-friendly and expensive version of it. And going forward, I mean, we're going to see in the miniaturization of these technologies, and we are going to get to the point where, augmented reality contact lenses will be in every day. This is from Mojo Vision, as they essentially kickstarting that race to the AR for your eye, on your eye. And that way you won't be able to tell if someone's wearing these AR sort of devices because they're essentially embedded it in their contacts. We also have the Tesla suit, and not from the Tesla company, but Tesla suit, one word. And they make these full body haptic suits. I'm sure you've seen. They do full body haptic systems, feedback systems, using a TENS muscle stimulation across multiple points on the suit, and top and bottom. They have a motion capture and an avatar system. So, we're actually looking to get these astronauts to wear these to be able to create these 3D avatars in virtual reality as they float around in space. So it's kind of like full body tracking to another level. And also very useful for ensuring, for training, for corporate training, enterprise training, or even sports training. So you can actually see every single point that your sports athletes are training on. And they have a climate control system as well, so you'll be able to feel heat and coolness in virtual reality. And they have a full biometric system, so if you have staff that are at remote locations and dangerous conditions, you can make sure that they're keeping in check using that biometric system, and they're keeping safe as well. So yeah, they've been using this for rehabilitation use cases, in enterprise training on oil rigs, and essentially replacing those virtual simulation engines with these haptic suits that can be tracked in virtual reality for training. And they've also come up with a glove this year, and so this Tesla suit glove has the haptic feedbacks for your fingers. So when you're feeling something in virtual reality, you'll be able to feel that same sort of push against your fingers based on these restraints. And eventually we'll move towards something that can be fully quantifying what it is that you have in your physical body, outside and inside, because it's essentially a combination of the headbands, the sociometric badges, the camera clips, the smartwatches, sensors embedded in the clothing, and all these sensors, these accelerometers and cameras and microphones and oximeters. And we've seen the Apple Watch Series 6 also with the blood oxygen measurement as well. So you don't really need to go to the doctor, your GP, if you've got all these sensors already. And you should be able to go to your GP in virtual reality, and they'll be able to interact with you there as well with these sensors. And what other senses can we mimic? So this is the sense of taste, for example, and the company is actually looking at generating an arbitrary taste, whether it's saltiness, acidicness, bitterness, umami, and sweetness. These 5 different tastes come through into this tube that you can lick, and you're actually able to taste that combination, so you can try to mimic particular tastes in real life. So I think that'll be interesting to see, master chefs in the future curate a particular taste, code, and then pass that on in virtual reality as their signature dish. I think that'll be a really interesting business model to explore. And obviously the brain-computer interfaces, synthetic speech has been generated from brain recordings. You can have non-invasive ones where they're essentially just measuring your brain waves using EEG. And then there's the sort of future where we're heading, where every part of our senses are being, mimicked in virtual reality. And I guess the final step to that is to actually go directly to the brain. So Neuralink, with the update earlier this year, has actually shown that they've implanted this device, this chip, with a bunch of wires into a pig. And so they're actually using this robotic surgeon. They did the 3 little pigs demo where they implanted a pig. They showed a pig where it was implanted, and they took out the device and the pig was fine. And they compared it to the ordinary pig. And so this pig had its readings of the brain directly through these robotic implanted wires. And these wires are about a quarter of the length of a human hair, and they send electrodes. They're essentially electrodes, so they can send inputs and also receive outputs from the brain. So input-output, that means I think they're trying to use AI to decipher the brain using that way. And they've got about 1,000 of these wires, so they're essentially connected to the neurons, so they can access 1,000 neurons at the moment. The human brain has about 100 billion neurons, so from that sense it might take a while. But if it follows the same law, kind of doublings as Moore's law, if it goes through that exponential growth, maybe doubling every year, that's really 30 doublings will get to 1 trillion neurons, and so that'll be 10 times more than the number of neurons in the human brain. And I guess less than 30 years, we might actually see this, fully quantifying the brain. And what does that mean? Could that mean the matrix essentially is real? Get to that point where you can be Cypher from the Matrix and reject reality and prefer the steak that you're tasting in the Matrix rather than the soylent outside in the real world. And so these sort of concepts refer back to this notion, the movement called transhumanism, where we're essentially using science and technology to extend the healthy human lifespan, increasing our intelligence, but also our well-being, and how we use science and technology to make sure no one gets left behind, but also accelerate these technologies so we can transcend in that sort of Maslow's hierarchy of needs for self-actualization to self-transcendence. But yeah, that's a sort of a talk in a nutshell. Thank you very much. Please reach out to me on Twitter if you have any further questions, and I look forward to seeing the rest of the conference.